Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to my channel, and welcome to the what is this now? The ninth part of the Star Trek marathon. Um, and today we're gonna be talking about one of the worst Star Trek films of all time. We're talking about Star Trek Insurrection, and oh boy. Like I said at the end of the previous video, I literally don't know what happened. So both Jonathan Frakes Jonathan Frakes directed both First Contact and Insurrection. And while First Contact seemed to be one of the best Star Trek films ever made, 2 years later he pulls out this, and I think it's a massive letdown compared to Star Trek First Contact, and it's honestly one of the worst Star Trek films I've ever seen. Um, it's not the worst because the worst is coming up soon. Um, and it's probably not what you guys are thinking. Um, but so yeah, this, like I said, was directed by Jonathan Frakes. Um, it had a budget of $58 million. It was released on December 11th of 1998. Domestically, it made 70 million, and worldwide, it made 117 million. So I don't know where to consider this a flop because domestically, yes, it bombed because it only made 20 million. Actually, not no, like 12 million more than its original budget. But worldwide it made um over 40 million. So, well, yeah, I would, I guess this would be kind of considered a bomb. Um, um, yeah, this is a massive letdown. Um, I'm just gonna say it right now. This film sucks. Like, if I ever watch this, it's like I'm doing right now, like a Star Trek marathon. I never really want to watch this ever. Like, I actually, if I was on a regular day, I would actually watch Star Trek 5 over this film. Yes, I said it. I said I will watch Star Trek 5 over this. This film is just so, like, boring. And I'm just like, I just want the film to stop because I'm like, how come, how did this film even get made? Like, I am so, like, baffled as how you go from like one of the best Star Trek films of all time with First Contact, and then you go to such a low point with Insurrection. Granted, the next film after this, Nemesis, did kind of bring it back up for me, and would lead to the Kelvin timeline films. But this, I honestly thought was going to be the end of the Star Trek marathon for me. But luckily, Nemesis kind of, it's not a very good movie at all. Nemesis, but it's slightly less bad than Insurrection. I would probably put it actually somewhat in the, like, near low, the top 10. Um, Nemesis, but this film, it's certainly one of the worst. Um, So, anyways, let's get on to that plot. So, we have the plot is a Federation mission to the planet Baku takes a dangerous turn when a malfunctioning android, which is Data, played again by Brent Spiner, takes a crucial task force hostage. When Captain Picard, played by Patrick Stewart, and his crew investigate, they uncover the truth about the Federation mission. It is actually a systematic ploy by the Sona to displace the peaceful inhabitants of Baku. Now Picard and his crew must thwart the plot even while experiencing strange side effects from exposure to the planet's surface. Um, so this film introduces kind of the Baku planet, which is basically a regenerative kind of planet. So basically, like, you never age, I guess. Um, it's just, I don't really get the point of this, honestly, but I guess for Star Trek it works. Um, so I get that the Sona are like the bad guys of the film, but I get why the Federation like wants to do this, honestly. Why they want to kind of so basically what they're trying to do is take the Baku and put them on a ship that if you enter it, it looks like their planet. But it's like a holodeck ship, so like everything's gonna look realistic. But like if you turn it off, then it's obvious that you're in a ship. So they plan on taking the Baku to that ship to have. Well, in the film, they explain that they want to have the regenerative kind of planet. Um, the script, I think, honestly, it could have been improved to make it. I mean, because it's played. The script is written to make the Federation look bad, and Picard and the rest of the crew of the Enterprise E look like good guys. Um, but I think that this is honestly like one of the major faults of the film is that they couldn't like actually kind of like the film would actually honestly be over within like 10 minutes if you actually just changed this one little part of the film. When they explain that they want to have kind of the regenerative effects of the planet, why don't you simply just say we need the planet for resources and materials to help us with the Dominion War? Because it, well, in the film, it takes place like right in the middle of the Dominion War, and the Federation is losing. So technically, they should be actually trying to look for resources and materials. So, like, let's say like a whole troop, like a whole bunch of crewmen are dying. Just take them over to that planet, have them heal up, and then send them back out. Simple as that. Um, just at least just say like we need this planet for the Dominion War. At least, yeah, it's stupid, but at least we're gonna get it instead of just saying, oh yeah, we just need the regenerative parts. Like we need the planet for for us to stay old, the young, and it's stupid. Like if you could literally could have just changed that one little line of script, you could have changed the whole film, and it would have been over in like 10 minutes. Um, but unfortunately, they don't do that, and so Picard has to be the Picard and the crew of the Enterprise have to look like the good guys and say, no, we're not gonna do that. We're gonna fight. We're gonna rebel against the Federation, help the Baku, claim ownership of the planet. Yeah, that would have for this. Whoever wrote the script clearly did not have a good sense of trying to figure out how to write a script because literally, like I said, you could have just finished it in 10 minutes, just a one little rewrite, and that would have been fine. um, and also if the let's just go along with the plan that they want the healing factor of the planet, and the Baku don't like that. They don't even like they can't even pick up like a phaser and like defend themselves. They're just like, okay, we don't want you to do this, but we can't pick up like a gun and defend ourselves. So yeah, we'll just sit here while we cry and we that our plans be taken over while you just take it. Like, why don't you guys just mature enough to pick up a phaser and just trying to defend your planet? It's so stupid. Like I said, this film is boring and it's annoying and I think it's stupid. I, I do not like this film at all. If you talked to me about this film like a few years ago, I would have said that this is actually one of the probably not the best, but one of the more mediocre films. Now I just say that this is one of the worst because I I'm just like baffled that like they're able to get away with this. Well, might as well talk about the new cast members to try and get my mind off of this. So we have Donna Murphy as Angie. I don't know how to say that name. I'm sorry if I butchered it. But kind of like Lily in First Contact, she's kind of like the love interest for Picard in this film, and she is so boring. Like she just says like some generic romantic crap. It's just so stupid, and it's just like apparently her powers are to make a CGI hummingbird go really slow and make like the crappy CGI waterfall move very slowly. I'm not like I'm like what is her power just to make time like slow down or something? That's kind of a crappy power up for someone who is like not even aging now, and it's ugh. We have Anthony Zerby, I think that's how you say it, as Admiral Matthew Dougherty, who's basically just like not like the main villain, but he's one of the main villains in the film, who just says, "Oh yeah, Picard, we're gonna take this planet and we're gonna use it." And Picard's like, "No, we can't let you do that. We're gonna rebel against the Federation and take these people and save them and have them claim this planet." Um, uh, I his death on I guess spoilers already like 11 minutes into this review. Spoilers. His death is literally just because the Sona are like Baku, but they rebel against the the Bakus, and now they're just older and like they just have this crappy skin where it's just like kind of like stretched and stuff, and it's like what is this? And I guess they have like stretching kind of tables or beds where they like kind of just stretch the skin. Cause when Dougherty finally realizes that he's kind of a prick, he goes up to the main villain, which is F. Murray Abraham as Rue a Rue a foe. I don't know how to say that. Um, when Dougherty's like, "Hey, this is actually kind of wrong. We should probably stop." He just takes him, has a quick little punch up, and just sticks him in one of those beds, and has his face just stretched up. And I get that it's Star Trek, and it's not supposed to be violent, but it literally cut like there's only like 2 seconds of like his actual kind of skin like peeling away, and then you just get like a wide shot, and he's just sitting there in this bed, kind of just like screaming in agony, and then I guess he died there because we never see him again. Um, so I was like, okay, whatever. He's dead. He was a douche anyway. He deserved it. Um, Greg with two G's, actually three G's, because there's one at the beginning and a two at the end. As Glayatin, I guess, who is basically the main villain's like right hand man, and unlike Dougherty, he I guess smartly does not try to confront his boss about not trying to do this, because then I guess he knew that he'll like get killed for it. I'm not sure. All of a sudden he just switches like that, and all of a sudden he goes up to Picard and he's like, "Hey, I'm gonna try and help you. We're gonna beam the villain and the people on the bridge of this new ship over to the holodeck ship and make it look exactly the same." Um, and then he realizes, and he gives this over the top like no, which honestly compared to Picard's note in First Contact, this is honestly pretty lackluster. It just shows that he's over the top as hell. Um, we have Daniel Hugh Kelly as Sojif. These Baku and Sona have really stupid names. Um, so he's kind of like the friend to Anji, who, like I said, is kind of like the love interest for Picard in this. Um, and he really doesn't get to do anything in this film except for one scene, which I will mention. So we have Michael Welch as Armton. Again, like I said, the Baku and Sona have very stupid names. Um, so Armton is like the son of Sojif, and so when the Sona first come down, they or when they always so there's like a couple moments where like they launch on these little like ships, so they don't like shoot and kill them, but they shoot these like little tags so like if it hits you, then you get transported onto their ship. So uh Armton's dad, which I'm not gonna say his name anymore because it's effing retarded to say his name again. He gets tagged and he gets beamed up, and Armton, Armton literally like he doesn't go like a child. Usually, if he sees his dad leave, he usually says like "Dad, no," but he goes "Father, no." Like who? What child says father? Usually, a child either says dad, or when they get older, they call their dad by their name, not father. Oh, it is. That's honestly probably one of my favorite scenes because I just laughed out loud when I watched it for the first time. I'm like, is that even a. Did I seriously just watch that? Did I see a little kid literally just yell, "Father, no"? Like, oh my god. Ugh. I. There's only like a couple moments where I actually enjoyed myself because I was just laughing out loud compared to the rest of the film where I was just kind of just crying because I'm like, I just want this film to end. Um, so I guess I already mentioned my first favorite scene was that. Um, I guess. Well, okay. To bring it kind of back to Anji, that's so stupid. Or Age, Anji. Um, so, they bring the Baku into this cave system before the next wave of kind of drones. I'm gonna call them drones. These drones come down and tag them. Um, and while they're in there, they're trying to make an escape because the drones are or the ships actually are shooting at the mountains so that they can escape so they can tag them. And so when they start shooting at the ships or shooting at the mountains, it causes turbulence because it's a mountain. Um, and so the rocks start to shake and some start falling down. And Anji, unfortunately, I guess I don't really care that this happens. Like she, I guess. Well, I already said spoilers, so screw it. Um, they're trying to make an escape and she gets crushed by rocks and she's having like a kind of death scene even though she gets revived. I and Picard's trying to have this sentimental moment because at least a good thing about Star Trek First Contact is that they don't have at least they don't have beloved like was Wrath Khan and First Contact at least they have the love interest doesn't get introduced and like half an hour later gets killed off. Because with those two, they're actually kind of cool. Like they can like kind of defend like I mean Kara Marcus is protected by Kirk, so Kirk's got her back. But she was like she she wasn't gonna take any crap from anyone. Uh, Lily from First Contact, yeah. I think in the holodeck scene, she grabs like oh no. When Picard goes to get the Tommy gun, one of the henchmen holo programs tries to come up and attack him, and she grabs like a little ice like wine tray thing and just bashes the guy over the back of the head. I'm like, that's cool. That's her being like smart and trying to defend him. Her she's just like no like basically she's like I'm dying and I'm just like okay cool I don't care you're like one of the most boring characters in Star Trek just die already. And Picard's trying to have this sentimental moment, and I'm like, just, just die already. I don't care. Just have her die. Unfortunately, she's not dead, and then both her and Picard get tagged, and it obviously leads up to, um, I guess the last third act of the well, actually not even the last third act, because like that's only like 20 minutes, like the last 20 minutes of the film. But they get beamed onto the they get yeah, beamed onto the ship, and they get reintroduced to uh Rufafu. I, I don't know if you're supposed to say Rufafu or Rufio, cause all of a sudden I'm starting getting hook in my mind because of Rufio. So screw it, I'm just gonna call the bad guy Rufio. So they get they get reintroduced to Rufio, and it sounds so weird calling him Rufio. Maybe he is actually, he is actually called that. Whatever, I don't care. So they get reintroduced to Rufio, and he's like, okay, we're gonna. I think he was the one that like, cause Dougherty just wanted to move them. By this point, Rufio wants to kill them, and Dougherty's like, okay, that's actually not cool at all. We were just trying to move them, not slaughter them. And uh, obviously Dougherty is killed, and Picard has his little showdown with Rufio, which is probably. I honestly think they were trying to rip off the fight between Kirk and Cruz from Star Trek 3, and they failed it terribly. Um, it's just a spectator. It's like more or less like a punch up, or well, actually not even a punch up. It's basically just a phaser fight. It's literally just like a typical TNG episode. It's so boring and dumb. So I guess they kind of do have a little bit of a fisticuffs at the end of the fight, um, or near the end. So it's just firing shots at each other basically, and um, Rufio's trying to activate this device that I guess is supposed to destroy the. Apparently, so there's this core device in the ship where if someone activates it's like a self destruct. I guess I'm not really sure on that. Um, but um, so Picard starts talking to him like don't do this, and then he eventually kind of just like puts the thing down, and then like Picard immediately after just shoots it, and it, like activates it. I'm like, now what was that for? You just gave this like speech telling him telling Rufio not to do it, and then like 5 seconds later you're just like okay, and shoots it. And then the ship's going to explode, and then oh my god, Captain Picard gets saved by the Enterprise E, he gets beamed up, and then Rufio dies in a CGI flame effect that looks even worse than actually it's pretty. Well, I'm just gonna say it's pretty bad. It's obvious that it's a CGI effect. Um, but I'm very tired. Um, So, yay, Captain Picard gets saved. Rufio dies in a bad CGI flame effect, and the ship explodes. Everyone is saved. Um, they go to say goodbye to um, the Baku, and then they get beamed up, and then they fly off, and happily ever after, or the end. Uh, um, yeah, I did not think very highly about this film. I thought it was a utter slog to get through, and not even the visual effects can save this film because, like Star Trek Five, ironically. So ironically, like Star Trek Five, ILM weren't available to do this film. Um, at least with Star Trek Five it was understandable because that it was released in '89, and there was a crap ton of films that ILM was working on, like Ghostbusters 2, The Last Crusade, I believe Batman as well. But yeah, they were working on a whole bunch of films, and unfortunately, they weren't able to do Star Trek Five. And they, um, at least with that one, I could appreciate it more because that one, at least they tried on. Um, I mean, yeah, it's jagged as hell, but at least I could tell it's a model, and I appreciate it way more than this film, where because they handled the effects company that they put on for this film was Blue Sky Studios. Yes, the Blue Sky Studios that now does like animation now. The actually looks pretty good. Did Star Trek Insurrection, and it shows that ILM did not work on this film because honestly, the ships look like Play-Doh. It's the ships look very flat. They don't look reflective at all. I mean, like even if they do, it's not even like reflective. It's just like it's a, it's literally just like you can see like a shine, like a light on it, and it's just very flat, very boring, and you can tell it's like a CGI effect. I think the only scene that the CGI actually worked on was the Briar Patch scene, where Riker is in command of the Enterprise while Picard is on the planet. Riker is trying to get off, trying to keep these sonar ships off him, and they go into the Briar Patch. And I think that's the only whole scene in the film where the CGI actually looks somewhat good. Cause honestly, like I said, the CGI looks terrible. Uh, I mean, yeah, at least the ships look somewhat okay. I could tell it's a CGI effect, but at least they don't look as bad as the scene I mentioned earlier with the CGI hummingbird and the CGI waterfall that slows down because of Angie's powers. You could literally tell that it's a CGI effect. It's just, it looks so ugly and weird. It's just, I don't like it at all. Um, but thankfully, with Insurrection, the effects did improve, and I do, even though I can tell that's a CGI effect as well. At least I'm not sure actually who did the effects for that. I gotta have to look that up later. Um, but at least with that film, they look like ships. It's very reflective. Like the paint, like everything in that film actually looks somewhat normal. Like they actually look good. This film literally just looks like you try to make a Star Trek VFX film on like a Macintosh SE and having only like 60 days to work on it. And it's terrible. I don't think it looks good at all. And uh I'm very thankful that the Vex effects did improve for the next film. The fun fact I have for this is, did you know, is that actually ever since the first draft of First Contact, Data was supposed to die in each film, but kept on getting rejected until Nemesis. Um, so yeah, in First Contact, was actually the first draft of First Contact was actually the first time that they actually kind of wanted to kill off Data because Brent Spiner felt like he was getting too old for that. For playing Data, so they intended to kill him off in First Contact. I believe it was actually in like within like the first 30 minutes of the film. They didn't go along with that, and then in this film, they were trying to. They went on to try and kill him off again, and apparently, well, again that didn't work. And then, as you guys, most of you know, if you guys are Star Trek fans, um, it was only in Nemesis because that was supposed to be that was supposed to be the final TNG film. They actually agreed on killing off Data. But I'll talk about more about that in the next video. And really quickly, I want to talk about the composer Jerry Goldsmith. Thankfully returns for what's probably honestly the best part of the film. Uh, is the music. It's fantastic. Um, and I think that's probably the only reason why I actually carried on watching this video, carried on watching the film because the score kept on like bringing me back, and I'm like, okay, this might be actually kind of good, and then it kind of just wasn't. So yeah, so as you guys could tell by the past 30 minutes I talked about this film, I didn't like it, and I'm gonna give this film a 3 out of 10. This had some redeemable parts about it, but overall, this film is a utter piece of trash. It's utter garbage. Hopefully, like I said, the next part, the next video, we're gonna be talking about Star Trek Nemesis, which honestly it brought me back into the Star Trek franchise. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed, and see you guys for tomorrow's video where I'm gonna be talking about Star Trek Insurrection. I mean Star Trek Nemesis. So live long and prosper. Out.